What up, y'all? How's it going? This is Pilar's Corner. My name is Pilar, and that's about as formal as we're gonna get. um, it's the end of the year, and I want to do like I'm gonna go through with you guys how because I'm a coach. I'm also a psychic. I'm a master channeler. People who know that I do that stuff. Um, I still do sessions, but primarily I'm a coach, performance and a personal coach. A lot of that comes from the fact that I'm a very practical psychic, I would say, and I want people to generally just do better for themselves. Um, but I see the web. I see the multidimensional web that connects us to who we are and where we are and what we're experiencing and why we're experiencing it and so on and so forth. So, I have an intense interest and mission to help people through transition and transformation and death and rebirth and all these things. So, coaching is just way more. People come in with a better mindset, I'll say. And the people who know that I do that, who know that I'm a psychic, they have sessions with me, but they come in with the right mindset because they know how I work, which is we're going to talk about the big picture, but we're also going to dive into how you can do better or how you can unlock this for yourself and what's going on and what are the things that you're struggling to explain that are happening in your life or within yourself or whatever. I'm going to tell you what that is. I can see it. I can feel it. And then how do we move forward, right? How do we make this work for ourselves, or how do we prepare ourselves, um, and what's possible and where we're at, et cetera, et cetera. But I stopped doing that as the only thing I was doing because I'm going does he love me? And am I going to get married? And so on and so forth. It becomes very one-dimensional. And to each their own and all their journeys. And bitch, I was that person too. So it's not judgment. It's just more, what do I want for myself? And that's why. But what's cool about Pilar's Corner is I can do whatever the fuck I want, which includes pulling cards for y'all and talking about the woo-woo of it all. So yeah. And then we're gonna also just reflect on how we want to approach the end of the year. Um, I'm not big. I wouldn't say I'm super big on New Year's resolutions or anything. I would say I treat every day like a New Year's resolution, which isn't a good thing. I've struggle sauce with ADHD my whole life. And just that coupled with a high performance mindset and desire to do really good and be correct and proper and excel and not give people a reason to talk shit about you, basically. I've always been obsessed with what am I not doing? How can I do better? And I'm not like that so much anymore. Anyways, I will say though that I again, transformation, rebirth, death, all that stuff. It's very integral to kind of the value system that I hold. Um, so I love the end of the year because people get in this mindset, right? And I think that that's really cool. And also just being honest, right? About what is realistic and how to set good goals. Very important. Um, and how to set yourself up for success is, whew, that's all I want for everyone is to learn how to set themselves up for success. through honesty and through better self-awareness and better self-acceptance, right? Um, so yeah, I always say meet yourself where you're at. Okay. Meet yourself with where you're at. Once you do that, you take away sort of the rosy colored glasses and like this concept. And because when we have this idea, it becomes doesn't become aspirational, it becomes a dream. Right? And we don't want dreams. We want like aspirational, inspirational reality. That's what we want. Dreams are dreams for a reason, right? Obviously, it can be beneficial depending because of language and how it influences us and our system and how we respond to certain things. Sure. But I will tell you this, meet yourself where you're at. Meet yourself where you're at because self-acceptance is the first step to everything. Right? Denial did no one no good. Although sometimes, denial's great for the survival mindset. Anyways, okay, so I'm gonna pull some cards. So we're gonna pull some cards. Um, and we're going to just kind of like reflect on the year and see what comes through. And if it doesn't resonate, I don't give a shit. But I hope it does because I care about you and I want you to have a good experience in life every day. So I'll just say my prayer that I usually say out loud so you know. I usually just whisper it to myself. Oh, I still whispered it. I'm sorry. I meant to say it out loud. I basically just say a prayer to the creator of all that is. And I say, in the moment, what makes sense. So I always want to give Earth's highest and greatest good, all of that. Um, but for this, it's like in this moment for this recording, right? What is as it serves in the highest and best way. Please and thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There you go. All right, fantastic. Anything else want to pop out? Okay, we had 3 cards pop out. Lovely. This is beautiful. And my AirPods just died. So we're gonna take these suckers out of my ear. I like having things in my ear because they kind of like ground me. I realize that really helps with my tism, but not the end of the world. It's fine. I should have charged them. Anyways, okay, so 3 cards came out. It's the message for right now as it serves the highest and greatest good. So we got the 8 of Swords reversed. And I love this card because if you're watching this, this is great. It's a great companion piece to watch this visually because you're going to see the cards, but I'll also talk through it. So you see a woman and she's looking through kind of like a pool of water or a mirror. And in that mirror, it's a reflection of her. She's tied up, she's blindfolded, and there's crows around her. That's the 8 of Swords reversed. Okay. And I feel like, and this is about a reflection of the self. I feel like we just talked about self awareness. You've learned a lot about yourself this year. I would say that you've seen yourself more this year than perhaps past years. There is an honesty that comes with seeing the chains that you put on yourself and seeing the constraints that you put on yourself. And I think this year, your eyes opened around those constraints, around instead of being just the victim, right? Which, like, being a victim happens. And I would try to, like, say, like, don't have a victim mentality. And, like, I don't have a victim mentality. And, like, I'm a survivor or whatever, blah, blah. This is accepting the fact that, like, you have put yourself in positions where you didn't have to be the victim, or, like, what is it that created the victim within you? What were you a victim to? And being more aware of, I would say, like, your triggers, your levers, your buttons, and the things that created pressure on you. Much in a more clearly defining way, right? A much more clearly defining way. Um, when we put ourselves outside of a defensive stance, we can simply be the witness to who we are. The greatest gift that we can give any of ourselves, any person, but especially ourselves, is to simply be the witness to who we are. Because when we do that, we can be accepting. And at the end of the day, we can believe this story versus that story versus this thing versus that thing versus this person versus that person, when in reality, like, all of these things can be true. We don't have to pick a side, and we don't have to have an opinion, especially about ourselves. We we need to just accept that we are who we are. And I think this year was pivotal in seeing that within yourself, of like, I am who I am. So, very big deal. Very cool. Love that. Queen of Pentacles. Hi, hi. Queen of Pentacles. Mm, queen. Like, I'm just say queen. Okay. This card is really cool. I see this woman. She's like in very bohem clothing. She's in nature. She's got branches coming out of her brain space. I love it. Got a melanin queen. She's feeling the vibes. She's feeling her environment. She is enriched. She is enriched and she is enriching. Okay. And this year was the year of enrichment. So you if we're going to talk about a return on investment, feel like this year was a phenomenal return on investment. And I'll say more specifically, because this is the Queen of Pentacles, possibly, right? Not heavily monetary, right? Maybe on paper, you broke even. Maybe on paper, right? You're making either the same amount of money or you're maybe even less, right? Maybe you invested more and maybe not as much of a return, but enrichment, right? That intangible value that pays dividends over dividends. Um, this was the year. This was a year of enrichment, right? And which is interesting, right? Because even thinking about that Eight of Swords reversed, right? Having more self-awareness around who you are and self-acceptance and being able to witness yourself with a sense of calm, with a sense of just like, this is a reality, is incredibly powerful. That it's like, we might feel like, well, what do I do with this? Right? Well, where is this going to take me? Or maybe you just started an endeavor. Maybe you just started a thing when in reality, like you're now caught up almost, right? You're caught up and you're way ahead than maybe other people might be. But you're now in a place where you're like, oh, I can just hit the gas and I can just go, right? I've got a full tank. Like, I can go anywhere. I can do anything. So even if you haven't done anything or haven't gone anywhere yet, you got a full tank of gas now. Tank of gas? You got a full tank of gas. Oh, Pilar. Um, very cool. Next up is the Queen of Cups reversed. Ooh, reversed. Queen of Cups reversed. So normally, Queen of Cups, very motherly, we'll say, very like nourishing, very nurturing, very giving, right? In the picture, we see a woman who's like a mermaid. Is she a mermaid? Who is this? She's a mermaid, but she's holding a ship in her hands, and she's actually bigger, right? She's bigger than the ship. There's blue whales in the ocean beneath her, and she's massive. She's like 10 times bigger easily than these blue whales, and there's a shit ton of them. And she's holding this ship, this beautiful like 7-sail ship. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-sail ship. That's a pretty big ship. Safety. There's a sense of safety with the Queen of Cups because it's all nourishing. It's like, I got you, boo. I got you. It's reverse. It's reverse. You want to know why? That's because you said, fuck everyone. Maybe not literally. But what's the theme here? You, right? You letting go, shedding this like needing to protect everyone, needing to be the savior to everyone, needing to be anything to anyone. Like maybe you picked your battles better this year. Maybe you were like, listen, y'all, I can't be everything to everyone all the fucking time. Facts, right? So there you go. You accepted that you are only one person, and that is enough. Where that comes from, we can unpack for a different time. But more importantly, you felt enough, right? Maybe you're still getting there, but that's where it's obviously going to net out is you're going to realize like, apparently I don't have to be everything for everyone. Which actually, when you do that, and instead of making it a necessity in being a part of your brand or a part of your like checklist, is everyone taken care of? Blah, 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 right? Instead of being in that mindset, just being like, what can I give right now? Where am I at? Checking in with yourself first. Right? Checking in with yourself first. It's a very powerful thing. Very, very powerful thing. I love that. I love that. Which, going back to this theme, right, of like, meet yourself where you're at. Meet yourself where you're at. When I do my end of year catch ups with my clients, more specifically with clients who like to do like an end of year wrap up or an end of year, like, kind of thinking of things in that term, like that works for them. I just like to start off the conversation by saying like, because everyone's different in how they organize, right? And what they think of and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, where to start? So I tell people, or I ask them, what stands out for you? What stands out for you? And is there anything lingering that you're still kind of holding on to or trying to sift through or strategize through or work through, right? What is that? What kind of stands out for you? Instead of being like, right off the top, these were the goals that you had this year. How do you feel like you performed against them? Blah, 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 right? I like to start with like, what's at the top of your mind? Obviously, we generally have recency bias. We always want to think about like the latest thing. But when I start the tone, just kind of a little more grounded, a little bit softer, a little bit slower. What stands out to you about this year? What's kind of floating at the top of your head? And go ahead, think about it, right? what's a theme maybe that came back periodically throughout the year that you kept revisiting? Naturally, if you have journals or you have a planner or anything that can kind of help you measure against this, awesome. But we don't always have that, right? So just thinking more of like top of mind and what stands out for the year. Was it relationships? Was it self management? Was it routine based? Even if it's something that maybe you struggled with for years, right? And that can go into obviously the next step of things, the next sort of unpacking. How long has this been on your mind? How long have you felt this way for? How long has this been a theme? That kind of thing. But for the year, right? Because once we go back further, that can be very beneficial. But we also want to feel some form of focus because a lot of people have a tendency to push out and go very big. And when you push out and you now dilute the power of the present, what you're also doing is you're theorizing, you're philosophizing, if that's a word. You become very philosophical about yourself and very philosophical about the themes in your life, the further out you get. And then you pull away from the present, which then actually pulls you away from what's in your control and what's in your power. And what's interesting about that is that if we don't have to, we can philosophize. Maybe we're really good at that, right? It's like this and that, and why does this happen? And then you get into the weeds of of the general, and like, why do people do this, right? And what compels a person, if you're talking about relationships, and then you start getting into this theoretical sort of big picture stuff. All you're doing is delaying the sensation of autonomy. You're delaying the reality of what is in your control and what is in your power. And you want to make sure that you have a nice balance of both. But if you can't balance both of them, right? If you can't unpack deeply and think about the present, then think about the present. Because going backwards sometimes will send you down a rabbit hole that can be very convenient and keep you in a place that creates a spiral. If you're someone who likes to, not to call anyone out, but especially myself, if you're like someone who you feel overwhelmed with a ton of shit on your plate, and then you go, I'm going to organize. And then you go, I'm going to make Post-it notes. I'm going to write things down. I'm going to go through my planner. I'm going to go through my digital calendar. I'm going to organize everything, right? And a form of this is ADHD for me. And then the repetitive nature of it, like either every day or every week to kind of prepare for the week, is definitely my tism. But when I'm overwhelmed, I want to ground things. And then I put myself where I'm writing lists. I'm going to do it this way, and then I'm going to do it that way. And then I'm looking at my month ahead, and then I'm looking at my week ahead, and then I'm looking at the different arenas, and then I'm like, oh, I can categorize it this way and I can categorize it this way. And I can put the Post-it notes up and I can put pink for this and I can put yellow for that. And then I can do like a digital version as well. And then I can do like my Kindle version because I have a Kindle Scribe, which highly recommend. And then that way I have it like in lots of different places, and it also like feels good because I'm doing it with my hands and I'm feeling right. And then it kind of spirals. And then before you know it, like 4 hours go by and you've got a a progress wall with Post-its. You've got a physical planner that you started. You've got a new physical planner that you just ordered from Amazon in the mail. Can't get there soon enough. You've color coordinated and updated your calendar. And you still haven't gotten anything done. Now, I'm not going to knock it because I need to do that to like ground myself and regulate. Okay. After having done that for years and with a lot of success fail, I've realized what my balance is and when to do that and when to just like bite the bullet. Not perfect, right? But I am also self-aware of like, I'm doing this because it feels good, not because I'm solving anything. Right? I'm doing this because it's helping me regulate, right? So being in your awareness of why you're doing something, again, witness yourself. Be the witness to who you are and what you're doing. Don't be the judge. Don't, and this, I used to do this all the time. I would start doing something, I'd be like, bitch, oh my God, stop it, right? Stop it. I would just shit talk myself all the fucking time because I would be like, you're not supposed to be doing this. Like, productive people don't do that. For instance, I love to have like a show playing in the background. Um, and it has to be a very specific show with a specific vibe and hit like specific, you know, energy points for me. And it helps me. I've realized now it helps me. But before it was like I wanted to put it on and it was like, you are procrastinating. And I'd be like, I am procrastinating. Oh my God, what is my problem? Blah, 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 blah. No, then I realized this is helping me regulate and it's actually not crazy for me. Everyone's crazy is a little different. But I would have like music playing, I'd have my show on, and I'd be doing work. And sometimes it would be more difficult than others, but just being in that awareness of like what I needed and what was it giving back to me. So over time, I've learned kind of what that balance is. But be in your awareness, right? And give yourself what it is that you need in the moment, if that's what you really want to do, and then observe yourself when you're doing that. Observe yourself. How are you feeling throughout that? You feeling satisfied? Why are you feeling satisfied? Why is this satisfying? Why is this not satisfying? What are you getting out of this? And when we go out and then out and then out and then out and then out, and now we're spiraling, and if you have a tendency to spiral, then you might also have a tendency to like bottom out, right? Depression. I struggled with depression my whole life. And it was only until I got my diagnosis for autism and ADHD that my whole life has changed, right? But I know this experience of like just constantly being in a cycle of depression and suicidal thoughts, and just bottoming out, right? So I understand that. Um, Coming back to this idea of pulling out, right? Um, which I have 3 kids. I'm a pro at not pulling out, but why did I say that? I don't know. Continuing. So, when we pull out into the big picture, we are getting further and further away from having to create action. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? We do that so that we don't have to take the risk of creating new movement. It's very common for us to feel a fear of failure. And that's very normalized, I guess, is like this the concept, anyways, is like very normalized. Fear of failure, fear of failure, fear of failure, right? If you watched my Hillary episode, which um, came out on the 9th, okay, we talk about really it's fear of success. Because then what? We're not scared of failure because we're kind of already failing, or more like failure just means nothing would change, right? And yes, there's the people will see you as a failure, and that's okay, yes. That's very extrinsic. Fear of failure, extrinsic. And then it can affect how you feel about yourself. Got it. But what's scarier than what you already know, because we're all the game of life, it's rigged against us, okay? You're gonna fail 10 times out of 10. Because even when you succeed, you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't think it would go this way, but actually this is cool. So depending on how you even think of success, right, you're still failing. Um, but what's even scarier than day-to-day life is brand new life, brand new routine, growth, stretch zone, scary woods that you've never been through before, and you have to walk, and there's no paths, there's no trails, and you have to make your own trail, and you don't know what's in there and what the bugs are, what animals are in there. And like, I love animals and I love nature, y'all, but like, I also respect it enough to be like, I am not your people. We're different species. We have different ecosystems, and I don't want to impact y'all, right? We like comfort. And what do they say, right? The devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. We want the comfort of what we know now over all else. Over all else. That's why it's so hard for us to pick different partners and grow in relationships and even quit jobs that we know are toxic, right? Because we're scared of the unknown. Scared of the unknown. So that's why we pull back and we get philosophical and we go big picture and we go this and that, and we're unpacking all this behind the scenes stuff, which is great. Okay. Very good. Unpacking is great. But know when there's a task at hand, when there's an opportunity. And this is the difference, honestly, between growth and just staying exactly where you are. And that's opening your eyes up just a little bit in the present to be like, what can I do right now? What can I do right now? What is an opportunity that's in front of me right now that I can take advantage of, that I can answer the call to? And we make over 30,000 decisions a day. So the concept of making more decisions outside of the normal realm of decisions that we have to make can feel like a lot, like a lot. I get it. But when you're ready and you can see all that you are, like, and realize that there are parts of you and there is a capacity in you that you don't even know, that you are capable, of answering the call and stepping up for yourself, that there is an ability within you that you don't even know about, right? Just knowing that you don't know what you don't know, and that any little thing that you do contributes to your overall success, to your overall, whatever your definition of success, we'll say, because everyone has a different definition of success, right? Even if you want stability, you want a boring life, absolutely zero judgment, right? You want a boring life with stability and you just want to be content. You just want to be okay, right? Know that you can have that. Know that you can take a risk that can put you in a better position to be in that place, to be in that awareness of like, okay, I just need to do this and I just need to do that and I just need to make the next step. When you realize that you don't have all the answers and that's okay, you're going to be set up to accept I'm not meant to have all the answers. I'm not meant to have all the answers because that's why we're here. I don't even want to say to figure it out because I hate to tell you, but there's no figuring it out. There's literally no figuring it out. It's just realizing what is it that you want. If there's any figuring out, it's the constant revolving door of who am I and what is it that I want. We're insatiable beings, babe. It's always going to change. And you're not supposed to be just one person. And you're not supposed to be this consistent monolith of a person either. If you wake up one day and you're like, I'm not happy, that's okay. That's okay. You're not alone, right? You're not alone. Let's unpack, right? What is this feeling? Is it anger? Is it distrust? Is it boredom? What is it, right? Go through that process with yourself because you don't know what you don't know. And you're not supposed to. But you are supposed to be curious. You are supposed to be curious. So let yourself be curious about who you are. And when you can do that in a balanced way, you can say, this is where I've been. This is where I think I'm at. And there's a fuzzy picture in front of me about where I think this is going, right? Where I think this is going, and then where I want to go, right? Where do I think this is going, and where do I want to go? What is that, right? So where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Something else we talked about with Hillary is the fact that there's no 1% better every day. There's not. It's less than that. Sorry, it's true. It's less than that. Because if not, you'd be 365% better at the end of the year. Like, what? What is that? That's not. No, we're going 10 steps forward. We're going 9 steps back and then 10 steps forward again, which is great. But it's a process. It's a process. But know that whatever you do now whatever you do now, you you do it. It's done. It's like an action that will forever live. And if you say, "I'll do it next month," right? That's okay too. You can do it next month. You can do it next quarter. But be in your awareness of like, well, what am I going to do with the time now? I'm going to relax. I'm going to regulate. I'm going to get back in touch with my friends, or I'm going to get back in touch with my family, or I'm going to focus on the work that I have in front of me, or this project, or whatever, blah, 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 right? Do that. And then make a plan for yourself. And then if you come around and it's next quarter or whatever, and you're still not doing it, be realistic with yourself. Why is that? Why is that? Don't judge yourself. So we can easily do that, right? Do you just need more time? That could be true. Does that not sit right with you? Why doesn't that sit right with you? If it does sit right with you, then it's like, okay, I have more freedom. I'm gonna let that pressure off my shoulders. Okay, great. Great. Now where are you? Right? Be in the awareness, be the witness to yourself and what you need. And what's that feedback loop? Right? What's that feedback loop that you're giving yourself? I feel this way. What is this? Right? What is this feeling? Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I am frustrated. Yeah, I am tired. I'm very tired. I'm still tired. Right? I thought I'd feel better. I'm kind of tired of feeling tired. What is that? Right? Being in the awareness. And that's why it's nice at the end of the year. What is it that sticks out for you about this year, the last 12 months? What is it that sticks out for you? And how do you feel about that? What does it bring up for you? What are the emotions that it brings up for you? Be curious. Be your own coach. Ask yourselves questions. I heard this. Who was it? It was Kristen Wiig. Yeah, she has this thing. She's like, if you talk to yourself in the mirror, she's like, I have this belief that you can't lie to yourself. I don't know whether that's true or not, but but it's very cool, right? She's like, so I ask myself questions in the mirror. I feel like I have to tell myself the truth. I love that. Even if maybe, results vary, you can still tell yourself, like, you can't lie to me. Right? You can say that up front, have that intentionality. You can't lie to me. And then ask yourself the question, right? Be curious. Be curious. And if you don't know, you can also tell yourself, like, I don't know, right? That's okay. Affirm to yourself. That's okay. It's okay not to know. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out. We got this, right? Mel Robbins has this thing where she's like, what did she say? She's like, for 3 years or whatever. She's like, I gave myself a high five in the mirror every single day. I love that. It's basically like, we got this. But there you go. Be your best coach. Be your own support. And well, if you need support, then let me know. Go to schedulewithpilar.com. But more importantly, right? Like, just be accepting of who you are, where you're at, and ask yourself curious questions. Ask yourself curious questions and try not to run away from what is in your power right now and in this moment. Okay? Because you and your acceptance and your witness to yourself is the greatest gift that you can receive, is your own self-acceptance. All right? So there you go. Be the witness to yourself. New episodes Monday and Friday. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah. Some future guests are going to be my girl Vanessa. We did a Gooped and Gagged podcast series, which was super fun and very unhinged. I'm also going to be interviewing my husband about our relationship and why we think that that works and where it fails. Also going to be talking to my son about sports because we love talking about sports and kind of his experience. And I'm going to try to not go a million questions on him and help make him feel cornered. But, he's had a very interesting experience in high school and in his whole educational career. So I'm interested in digging into stuff with him about that. And then also more of this stuff. If you guys like the tarot stuff, the astrology stuff, then cool. We're going to keep doing that. If not, then move the fuck on. Because it's my corner, bitch. It's my corner, y'all. And this is my shit. This is what we do. Let's see what's at the bottom of this deck. I like to think of the bottom of the deck as like our shadow card. Like, what's the stuff we gotta work on? Like, you being in denial of. Let's see what it is. The Four of Wands. Oh my God, this is perfect. You guys, this is perfect. The Four of Wands. Do you know what that means? Maybe not. If you do, then you know. But Four of Wands, and it's upright. Four of Wands is home, stability. It's just a man and a woman, and they're underneath like four wands, basically, with like a really pretty wreath at the top with flowers, and there's like a city in the background, and it's just the sense of like balance between work and life, and all the things, and it's all the and it's just like being stable, being productive, but being in a state of like stability. Why would that be a shadow card? What were we just talking about? What were we just talking about? Okay. Fear of success. Fear of success, y'all. So unpack a little bit why you are scared of success. And maybe you think yourself, I'm not scared of success. I want success. Blah, 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 blah. No, don't do that. Play along. Ask yourself. Okay, put it in the words. If I were scared of success, right? We're not admitting anything, but if I were scared of success, why would that be? Why might success be scary? And I like doing the exercise of like the 3, 4 whys, right? So you like dig down, so you have the answer, and then you go, why? And then you try to find the why to that. And then you go, why? And you try to find the why to that. And you go, why? And then you try to find a why to that. And then depending on how good you are at doing that, you might get it in 2 steps. But go through the exercise, right? See how deep you can get. So there you go. Why are you afraid of success? Interesting. All right, you guys. Well, I love you. You're amazing. You're awesome. You are already perfect. And you got this. All right. Talk to you guys next time. Bye.